Welcome to another episode of Holistic Hive. I'm here to bring you the latest in the wellness world, along with my personal insights. If you're passionate about wellness and looking for tips to nurture your mind, body, and soul, make sure to subscribe and join me every Tuesday. In today's episode, we explore the latest in wellness trends for 2024 from The Guardian, showcasing groundbreaking innovations and insights. An inspiring story of a 15-year-old who has developed a soap that might prevent and cure cancer. Learn more about this incredible achievement in People. And Dr. Ruth's farewell advice. She left behind a powerful message on combating loneliness and living a happier life. Her final advice is shared in People and her book, which offers even more wisdom. This episode of the Holistic Hive is brought to you by The Wellness Blondie. If you are passionate about natural remedies, holistic wellness, and delicious whole food recipes, head over to the Wellness Blondie blog for inspiring content to nurture your mind, body, and soul. And don't forget to check out my cookbook, Nourish and Thrive, your ultimate guide to embracing a vibrant, whole foods lifestyle. Packed with over 100 delicious recipes, this cookbook is designed to help you savor every bite while fueling your body with nutrient-rich, wholesome ingredients. Whether you're a seasoned chef or just starting your culinary journey, you'll find a variety of dishes that are both satisfying and simple to prepare. The 28-day meal plan is carefully curated to provide balanced nutrition and flavor, making healthy eating effortless and enjoyable. Alongside the recipes, you'll discover valuable tips and tricks to seamlessly transition to a whole foods diet, support your wellness journey, and build sustainable, nourishing habits. Nourish and Thrive empowers you to thrive from the inside out, one meal at a time. It is now available on Amazon. Just type Nourish and Thrive into the search bar or click the link in the show notes and start nourishing your body and thriving today. All right, let's kick things off with my current obsession. Lately, I've been absolutely obsessed with debunking the myth that eating healthy is only for the elite. I keep seeing posts all over social media claiming that only those with money can afford to eat well. And it's frustrating to see people believing and sharing this misinformation, often spread by creators chasing clicks to grow their accounts. Instead of blindly accepting this, how about doing your own research or finding reputable sources for your information? Just the other week, I was reading through the comments on a post where one gentleman argued that people with lower incomes cannot shop at Trader Joe's, Whole Foods, or Sprouts. While I understand his point, the other person was just mentioning places available in her area. I'm in a rural town. We have a local grocery store, an Aldi, and a Walmart. If I'm willing to drive another 40 to 60 minutes, there are more options. So when I see this narrative that you can't eat healthy on a budget, I just cannot stand by anymore. No matter your income level, it is possible to live a whole, real food lifestyle, which is healthy. I did some digging and here's what I found. Let's start with breakfast. A package of pre-made waffles or pancakes at Walmart is roughly $4 for 24, unless you've got toddlers that won't last long, especially with 2 teenagers. When my kids get these as a treat from grandma, they're gone in a couple of days. Plus, pancakes loaded with carbs, sugar, and syrup aren't exactly the best fuel to start your day. Now let's compare. 2 packages of breakfast links are $3 each. A dozen eggs is $3.50, and a loaf of bread is $1.50. That's $11 total. This will fuel your kids for the entire week and keep them fuller longer so they can focus on school instead of daydreaming about lunch. Next up, Lunchables. First off, they're not a healthy option, but some argue they're affordable. I beg to differ. They cost between $1.68 and $2 and contain processed meat, cheese, crackers, and a sugary dessert. Hardly filling. Instead, let's make our own. A bag of apples is $4. Mixed nuts are about $5. A container of cottage cheese is $3, and 1.5 to 3 pounds of thick sliced ham is roughly $10. You get 20 lunches for about $22 compared to 20 Lunchables costing $33.60. How is eating healthier more expensive? I recently did a $200 grocery trip, which covers 2 weeks of meals for my family of 4. That includes 14 dinners, several breakfast options, and snacks. For lunch, my husband and I take leftovers, and the kids pack cold lunches. That's $100 per week, which you simply can't do with processed foods. For example, 5 frozen pizzas for dinner and lunch costs $25. That's a quarter of my grocery bill for just one meal. I hope this breakdown makes sense. What do you think? Should we shut down this misinformation on social media or just keep scrolling? Should I step into the comments and slap down the facts? What would you do or have done regarding this? I'd love to hear about your experiences and any tips you have. Drop a comment below, tag me on socials, shoot me a DM, or send me an email. Now, let's move on to our news segment for today. I came across a really interesting article about the top wellness trends of 2024. This caught my attention because I am always curious to see what the influencers are toting about these days. Doesn't mean I fall for all of them, but some are interesting enough that I deep dive and learn something new and possibly update my wellness practices. So what are the biggest wellness trends of 2024? Magnesium has been in the spotlight with good reason this year. According to the World Health Organization, approximately 75% of Americans do not meet the recommended daily intake of 420 milligrams per day. This is most likely due to the overconsumption of processed foods, but they cannot accurately determine why. I dug deeper into this topic over on Patreon if you want more information. I know I was definitely lacking in my magnesium, even eating a whole foods diet. So I do supplement in the evening with 3 different forms to help support my brain, bones, and nervous system. Raw milk is the hottest drink, making its way around social media. Nutritionally, there is no difference between raw and conventional milk. You are being duped into paying more and possibly exposing yourself to certain risks by consuming raw milk. Although the risks are not crazy high, you could get Campylobacter, Cryptosporidium, E. coli, Listeria, Brucella, and Salmonella. Children under 5, pregnant women, and people over the age of 65, or anyone who has a weakened immune system are at greater risk according to the CDC. The whole reason we started pasteurizing milk was because we moved into the cities away from farms, and it needed to be shelf stable for longer so that by the time it reached us, it was not bad. Why are we always trying to find some magic solution to something instead of getting back to basics? This is just wild to me that people are paying $10 to $14 per gallon. At-home microbiome testing. Certain companies are claiming to be able to test your stool and give you personalized diet recommendations based on the results. These tests cost anywhere from $120 to $400. Do not be duped here. They are testing the bacteria in your poop to see if you have conditions like infections, digestive conditions, parasites, or ulcers. As someone who had serious digestive issues and had to send in multiple samples for testing, not once did my doctor tell me that she could give me a personalized diet recommendations. She actually just suggested to eat a well-rounded whole foods diet and to add a good pre and probiotic to strengthen the good guys and kill the bad guys in my gut. I wanted to see how much a stool test was through my medical provider, so I dug up some old bills, and before insurance, it is between $12 and $70 depending on the specific testing you are getting. So before you go ordering those at-home tests, give your nearest medical center a call and ask for the pricing to get accurate testing completed, even if you do not have insurance, before you waste money ordering that at-home test. Psychedelics for mental health. Research into how drugs like LSD, MDMA, and psilocybin can improve mental health continues to grow and evolve. I had heard about this, and it is basically where you microdose one of those drugs under the care of a professional to work through depression, PTSD, or come to terms with death for terminally ill cancer patients. They did this back in the 70s, didn't they? They doped people up on LSD to make them tell the truth. Or was that a movie I watched? I don't know about this one. Maybe for terminally ill cancer patients to ease them into a pain-free death. But what if you get the wrong dosage and end up having a bad side effects or a bad trip and it makes things worse? What if it causes someone with PTSD to think they're in a frightening situation and they then take matters into their own hands to survive and end up hurting others? I have so many questions about this one that I am just so unsure if this is a good or a bad thing here. Under consuming, aka reduce, reuse, recycle. Influencers are pushing back against consumerism by encouraging followers to repair or repurpose their stuff. But is this trend just what people call normal life? Yes. Normal people cannot afford all the shit that a lot of influencers are sharing on social media and telling you to go buy. Or they are being paid to advertise those items. I see one influencer always putting Walmart outfits together, and she shows you the shopping and the try-on in the store, but never at her home. So she is most likely not even buying the items, but getting others to purchase and getting a commission from Walmart for promoting them. Wake up, people. We have so much garbage in landfills from the fast fashion and keeping up with the Joneses mentality that you outgrow and in a month from now need something else. So get on this trend of buying less, repurposing things, and thrifting. I've been doing this for years because it helps keep things out of landfills, it is cheaper, and it is something that I can get crafty with at times, making it my own. Skincare for kids. I covered this in last week's episode, so go back and listen if you did not catch it. Boy sober, aka celibacy. I honestly do not even know what to say here. I just have so many questions. Like, is this 100% celibacy even with yourself? Is this just penetration? What about foreplay? Is that off the table too? I need all the deets. I am not on this trend and will not be joining anytime soon. How about you? Are you boy sober? If so, why? I honestly would love to know. You know what I did not see on this list was mouth taping. This definitely popped off this year, and, well, in my mind anyway, I heard about it on several podcasts and saw it all over my social feeds. Amazon even had to rename mouth tape because so many people were up in arms over this practice that it was difficult to order any for a while there. Here is the statement from Amazon. Starting July 31st, 2023, mouth tape, also known as sleep tape, will no longer be permitted for sale on Amazon. The comments were wild, so I thought I would share some with you. Here we go. Guess I'm going to have to go back to using duct tape. So glad to be protected by a corporate giant like Amazon. It's not like medical professionals are doing a good job. Nobody tell Amazon that regular tape poses the same risks. On July 31st, all books with the word mouth or tape in the title will be classified as pesticides. Rope will be next. Just saying, be proactive. Oh my God. Is it true there is such a product? Though it is not strong enough to silence a nagging wife. Now that I shared all these amazing comments on it, I do want to share that I do mouth tape. It is safe when done right and does have benefits. I have an entire post about it up on the blog, and you can also check out The Skinny Confidential by Lauren Bostic. She has several blog posts and podcast episodes all about it and how it is helpful. As we look back on the wellness trends of 2024, it is clear that innovation and natural approaches are driving the future of health and self-care. People are increasingly seeking out ways to support their well-being through preventative measures and holistic treatments. In that same spirit of innovation, a remarkable story has emerged. A 15-year-old boy has developed a soap that could do more than just cleanse. It has the potential to prevent and treat skin cancer. Heman Bakil is a 15-year-old who was on the cover of Time magazine this year. He is so smart and brings some seriously innovative ideas. His family migrated here from Ethiopia when he was a young boy. During his time in Ethiopia, he noticed the damage to people's skin from overexposure in the sun. He received a chemistry set when he was 7 and was hooked immediately. The chemical reactions inspired him to think critically and deep dive into his passion, curing skin cancer. When he found out about imiquimod, I don't know if I said that right, a drug to help treat some forms of skin cancer, he wondered if there was a way to change it from a cream form to a soap. Why soap? Because everybody uses soap on a regular basis all over their bodies, and soap is something that no matter your economical status, you can get. This sparked interest from a molecular biologist, Vito Rebecca, who has taken him under his wing and has become his sponsor to make this come to fruition. The two of them are working together, experimenting with the current recipe and tweaking as needed to make it as powerful as they possibly can. I had no idea what imiquimod was, so after a quick Goog, I feel slightly more confused. And this confusion is coming from the warning stating to avoid exposure to the sun, sun lamps, or tanning beds while using it. So if you need to avoid the sun while using it, how will it help treat or prevent skin cancer for those that are in a profession where they are outside all day long? There are, of course, side effects like any drug out there, but from the list, it did not seem serious risks in taking it. Here are a few so you have an idea. Skin irritation, rash, swelling, flaking or scaling of skin, itching, and then the regular list they usually run down in the commercials: headache, nausea, diarrhea, etc. In my opinion, I probably would not use this soap from the information I found thus far. As a normal person, just avoiding the excessive sun exposure would be better than applying this to my skin. Now, if I were working out in the sun every day and being exposed more than I should be, the tables may be turned here. So it would really depend on your circumstances and ideologies. What do you think of all of this? Inventions like this remarkable soap, created by a young mind determined to make a difference, remind us that breakthroughs in health can come from unexpected places. Whether it's a teenage inventor or a renowned health expert, the potential to shape the future of well-being is limitless. Another figure who left an incredible mark on the world of health and education is Dr. Ruth. Even after her passing, her final lessons continues to resonate deeply with all those who were inspired by her work. People magazine highlighted Dr. Ruth's book, The Joy of Connections, a book with 100 tips for a less lonely, more meaningful life. The iconic sex and relationship therapist had a knack for creating meaningful connections with people. She had the ability to make people feel seen, heard, valued, and important. She was super popular in the 80s for her late-night television show that offered candid, insightful, and humorous sex advice. And she covered it all from women who have never orgasmed, best time of the day for sex, foreplay, oral sex, fantasies, STDs, or as we now know it, STIs, and sexual dysfunctions. She was way ahead of her time. Some would say taboo. For her speaking publicly and explicitly about sex, and people loved it. Her book is intentional and practical, just like her sex advice. Gilbert is quoted, "She wanted people to take risks in order to live a bigger life." For her, bigger life meant one full of real, meaningful relationships that could bring you joy and actually make you live longer. So even if it's hard, even if you would prefer not to stick our necks out, even if it's easier to stay home, she would urge us to keep pushing ourselves because the bigger life is outside the front door. This really hit home for me. As someone who does suffer from depression and anxiety, I can definitely fall into the trap of, no thanks, I'll pass on this one, or maybe next time, as responses because I just don't want to put myself out there. I have the ability to change this and to cultivate meaningful relationships. We all do. After reading this article, I immediately bought the book. I think this book is for all, no matter your age, race, sex, or anything else you can think of. Some of her great advice is to throw parties, have a family game night, and use props. This one really intrigued me. What does she mean by using a prop? A carefully chosen prop can signal your interests, making it easier for others to approach you and initiate conversations. Dr. Ruth states, "This is so simple and insightful. Think about it. If you saw someone with, say, a coffee meme shirt on that you like, you would maybe say how it was a cute shirt, which could be the start of a conversation that may lead to a meaningful relationship. This is also a great example to send your college kids with to make new meaningful relationships during their formative young adult years." Another thing that Dr. Ruth did at the end of every conversation was ask, "When will I see you again?" This simple question conveyed to others that they were valued, that their presence was appreciated, and that she looked forward to meeting them again. It's a gentle yet powerful way of fostering meaningful connections. A lesson we could all take to heart. After all, who doesn't want to feel like they matter. This approach could be a great tool for cultivating deeper relationships and weeding out those who may not be interested in investing time in a genuine connection. But what does it mean when someone can't commit to another meeting at the end of a conversation? Or is that overthinking it? Or does it signal that they didn't fully enjoy the time spent together and are trying to politely decline? What do you think? As Dr. Ruth would say, embrace your inner turtle. Stick your neck out. If you're interested in this book, I will have the link in the show notes for you. I think it's so important to stay informed about these developments in the wellness world. If you have any thoughts on this topic or have read anything interesting lately, I'd love to hear about it. Now, before we dive into the final segment of today's episode, I do want to remind you that if you have a favorite wellness tip or recipe you'd like to share, I'd love to feature it. Send your submissions to thewellnessblondie@gmail.com and you might hear it on an upcoming episode. Now, for today's wellness tip or recipe, I'm focusing on meal planning. I asked my family what they are in the mood for this coming week or two, and then I get the plan all together, adding in a few more options if needed. Then I get my grocery list together after going through what we already have at the house. I do want to add here that I do preserve food throughout the growing season from what I can get from the farmer's market or at a discounted rate due to it being in high supply so that we can have it during the off seasons, which helps cut down on our weekly grocery budget. After my grocery trip, the whole family pitches in to prep all the meals so that they can be thrown in the freezer. We pull out what we want the night before and let it thaw out in the fridge overnight. If it's a crock pot meal, I drop it in the pot in the AM before we head out for the day and set it on the correct temp and time. If it is an oven meal, I have the kids put it in the oven when they get home from school. Doing this helps cut down on all of the cooking time every evening so we can spend quality time together. The kids can get all of their schoolwork done and we can get to bed at a decent time while still keeping up with all of the housework. I do want to be completely honest here that this is work and it does take time. So to avoid burnout from trying to meal prep several weeks or even a month's worth of meals, start small. Just a few meals each week and gradually add more as you become more comfortable. I remember the first time I attempted meal planning for an entire month, and wow, was I overwhelmed. Halfway through, the kitchen and the dining table were a complete disaster, and I broke down telling my husband I had taken on too much at once and needed help to finish. Thankfully, him and the kids jumped right in, and together we managed to get everything prepped and cleaned up. After that experience, I scaled back to prepping a week's worth of meals at a time, with the whole family helping out. It made the process so much more manageable. If you want some inspiration, head on over to my socials for the posts about it and my webpage for a couple different meal plans to get started. I hope you give it a try and enjoy the benefits. And if you do, let me know how your recipe pans out or any fun tweaks you make. Don't forget to tag me on socials so I can see your delicious results. That's it for today's episode of Holistic Hive. I hope today's episode sparked some inspiration, brought you fresh insight, or at least gave you a little boost. And hey, if you're loving this podcast, why not drop a quick rating and review on your favorite platform? It'd mean the world and help more wellness lovers find us. Your feedback helps more listeners find us and join our wellness journey. Don't forget to follow me on social media for more updates, tips, and behind-the-scenes content. You can find all the links to my profiles along with more information and resources over on my website. And if you're looking for even more exclusive content or just want to support the show, be sure to check out my Patreon page. Thanks a ton for tuning in. Tune in next week, where we'll explore the quirky history of toast, from ancient Egypt to modern toasters, and why it's such a breakfast staple. We'll also dive into the wellness news, discussing Gwyneth Paltrow's Goop, early puberty being linked to chemicals, and Bayer's new healthy aging ecosystem, and the impact of fragrances on their health. Don't miss the mix of history, trends, and clean living tips. Until next time, keep nourishing your mind, body, and soul, and remember, we're all buzzing through this wellness journey together. Be amazing, my friends.